How's it going? Happy Thursday. I'm Paula Montgomery from Desert Cat Creations, and thanks for joining me today. It's time for our week 44 design reveal. So today we are going to make a necklace, and we're going to be using leather and a veil and a charm, and it's going to be inspired by a sunset. Okay. So I hope you all have had a great week. It's been a kind of a crazy busy week. But we're here and we're taking a little time off to do some beading inspiration. So I want to show you something though. I planted my cactus garden. You know, it's just got rocks. It's not got dirt, but I just want to show you another fun way to use our cactus garden kits. Isn't that fun? I enjoyed that. But I'm going to just set that aside on our workspace here, so I can have fun with that. All right, I hope you enjoyed Sunday. We made last Sunday we showed how to make our Swaro sun catcher or ornament kit, depending on what you want to use it for. So that video is still available. I think I haven't loaded it to Facebook yet, but I will do that after we get off here. Excuse me. This Sunday, we are going to show how to make our prickly pear ornament kit. Now, you will get enough, sorry, dropping things already. You will get enough crystals in your kit to make 2 ornaments. You will make a large one. So at some point you will use this piece you only get one of, okay? So that's what makes this the large one. And a small one. All right, so, and you can make them however you want. You could make one big giant one. I haven't tried that yet, but you could do that if you wanted to. But we will talk about that on Sunday at noon. Noon Mountain Time. That's what we're going to work on this week. So if you're interested in the kits, they are available directly from me. The prickly pear kit that we're doing this Sunday is $15. The Swaro kit, which we did last week, was $22 plus shipping. They are available on the, like I said, on the website, or you can direct message me or comment on the messages in our group or on the Desert Cat Creations page. So that's our advertisement for the day. So let's go ahead and get started on our project. All right, I'm gonna flip the camera. I'm gonna do a little zooming in. And let's take a look at what we've got to work with today. All right, we are going to make a necklace. So according to the card, I can make whatever length necklace I want. I'm going to make it a little longer, only just because I'm putting some dangles on there, okay? And then we have to use a bail in our design. So in my little bag, or my little bowl, I am going to use this kind of bail today. So it's, you know, a tube with a ring on the bottom, okay? We used one of those in a smaller one to make our anklet last week, I guess. All right, so, all right. We're going to use leather in our design. So I plan to use both 1.5 millimeter leather in 2 colors. So we'll see that. We have to use a charm in our design. So I figured, being fall, I'm going to use this little yellow leaf charm. All right. So that's our charm. And then we have to design it inspired by a sunset. So what I've got a lot of stuff in here. So, and I'm not going to use everything in here, but let me pull out some of the, but for part of our sunset, I'm going to use an orange sun bead, okay? And then the rest of our design is going to be like fall colors, okay? Sorry, some extra leather here, which actually I think I won't use that piece. So I've got a bunch of leaves. So my thought on the sunset thing is, one, the colors. So I've got these oranges and yellows to represent the sunset. Okay. I kind of changed my mind on that one. Probably not going to, I might add that. We'll see. Got a couple extra charms and stuff here just in case. Got some ends for my leather and a clasp for my, all right. So anyways, my sunset is going to be represented by the oranges and yellows, which also makes a great fall design. So I want to put that in there somewhere. I'm also debating, I'm going to use this ring, so as part of my design, and I want to dangle something from the middle. The leaves are going to dangle below, okay? But I can't decide whether I want to use this orange sun bead in there or my cat, in which case I can put the orange bead on somewhere else. Like I could put it between there and the veil. I might do that. It's kind of fun, okay? And then my thought is the leaves I would dangle, from the bottom of this ring. And then we're going to attach it all to a leather necklace, okay? So we can figure out the leather part later, but so let's, our veil, actually we need our veil, right? Let me grab some copper wire. I thought I was going to use just jump rings, but it's a little wire wrapping. The wire wrapping will work. Alright, so let me move my cards. And the stuff I'm going to dangle, I may not use all of this. I just have a lot of stuff out here. If you guys follow Stars Beads, I got a lot of these leaves from her. They're from the Philippines. I think they're coconut wood or coconut shell. Either ways, I also got this glass bead leaf from her years ago. So here's that. All right, so let me, I am going to zoom in just a little more so you guys can perhaps see what I'm doing. So my thought is to lay out, to dangle the cat inside, and then we can wire wrap our sun up there, okay? And then we're just gonna, dangle dangle a few leaves. That may, you know, that may be enough. I had to put, well, we have to put our charm in there too. So we'll have to see how that dangles, but I think I want to put the cat in there first because it's always a hard. That's always the hardest thing for me, is to put things inside the circle. So. All right, so I'm going to take a head pin and put that up there. It's a fairly flat top, so I'm not going to worry about putting a bead in there, especially because I don't have a ton of room. So let's get our tools. All right, so I'm going to use just the tips of my pliers and to bend my head pin back, and then we're going to make kind of a smallish loop. All right, and then I am going to stick that on here. Just pop that on there, and then, you know, you just need to hold it out or back, depending on which direction you're going. And I'm gonna use my pliers just to get in close, and then I'm going to use my other one so that I can pull this tight. I didn't want a loose wrap. I want a tight wrap. So, all right. So I'm pulling around like 2.5 times. Let's go ahead and trim that. And let's tuck that in. I'm sure you can't see what I'm doing because I can't see what I'm doing either. So, all right, let me hold that. Just gently trying to tuck that end in there. All right. So we've got our kitty hanging from there. All right, now I think I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to wire wrap our sun on there. So if you're catching me on a replay or live, let me know you're out there. Say hello. I love to know who's out there and where you're coming in from. All right, we're gonna do our 90 degrees. Since this bead doesn't have a direction, it doesn't really matter which side I do first. Okay, so, all right. We got a ring there. We are gonna slide it on here. And again, we are going to just hold that so we can do our wrap. I'm gonna start it with my fingers, and then I am going to finish with my pliers. Hey, Janelda. Appreciate it. Hope you get home safely. All right. So I'm tightening or tucking that in so it's nice and smooth. All right, and then make sure everything's going the right direction. So we have our sun up there. And we got a little mixed metal thing going on here today, but that's all right. We're gonna make one more wrapped loop, and then I think that's it for wire wrapping for today. All right, so this one, since I've been working off here, I do have to trim this so that we can put it on our bale. All right, I'll make sure everything's going the right direction as soon as I get this wrapped. So I'll hold it with my pliers, take the end around my fingers. This is nice soft craft wire from Softlex, so it's doable with your fingers. I am using 20 gauge wire today. I like 20 gauge, it's my go-to, but you know, 22 is good too for this kind of thing. As long as you're doing wrapped loops, they'll both hold. 20 gauge, you can sometimes get by with simple loops. All right, let's make sure everything's dangling us right. So I need my my loops both facing forward here. There we go. All right, there we go. So we've got our bale. We wrapped it with the sun to our loop, and now we're gonna attach a bunch of things to this, leaves to this loop, okay? And I am just gonna use jump rings for that. So when deciding what size jump rings you need, you know, you need, so for a charm, you don't need a whole lot of room, but you need enough room to go around that and around here, okay? And, you know, you can either measure or you can just do trial and error, which sometimes is enough. You know, I'm gonna have to use my pliers to adjust that. And then on these ones, you know, some of them have sort of a, you know, go down a ways before the hole. So we do need to do big enough ones. So I am going to use some, what are these? 3/16 size. So if you're into chainmail, you will find that if you're buying, a lot of times if you're buying jump rings from a jewelry supplier, I bought these a long time ago at Stars Bead Shop, I believe. When you're tying jump rings, some people measure the inside diameter. You know, so the inside of the circle. And some people measure from the outside of the circle, because if you're just picking up something with your little measuring thing, it's a lot easier to measure the outside. Chances are, if you're buying them from a jewelry supplier, for example, I think I got these from Softlex, so they're 4 millimeter, so actually, looks like I have mixed rings in there. So the 4 millimeter ones, this is definitely, they're measuring the outside diameter. These ones were made to do chainmail with. They were designed by a chainmail person, so it may be the inside diameter, and I'm not, but not always, but it is something to be aware of. If you're doing chainmail, it matters. If you're just using them like I'm going to do today, it really doesn't matter all that much. So the question is kind of, how do I hang these? I think I'll start in the middle. All right, so, you know, the other thing, you got to make sure that the diameter, you know, the wire diameter will fit through the hole of whatever you're doing. These are 18 gauge ones, so they're nice and thick, and they're sturdy, so they won't come off very easily if something tugs on your charm or whatever you're hanging. And remember, we open jump rings side to side. So I grab, I'll show you, re-show you in a minute, but, and you close it side to side, and you want to close it with, you know, very little opening showing. And if you're using good quality jump rings, you should be able to do that. So see, this one has enough room there. It goes through the hole and everything, so I'm good with that. All right, so remember, like, so a jump ring, I always find where it opens, I put that opening at the top, and then I take my pliers, and one on each side of that opening, and you just twist to open. Don't pull, twist, okay? And, you know, you may have to, in some cases, open something further. Don't open it any further than you have to, though, because it just can weaken the metal. Although, it can also harden. I know it's crazy, but it can harden your metal too. So, but if you open and close them too much, it will weaken it. So, but like I said, you just twist those back, and these are nicely sawed jump rings, so the closures are pretty good. So see, we're just dangling there. This one's already open because clearly I was getting ready to use it for something. Let's put that one on backwards. All right, side to side till we get it nice and tight there. And let's put some charms on. We don't necessarily have to use the same. Don't have to use both of them. I got two out just in case I wanted to, but I know watching me close jump rings isn't very exciting, but I know Janelda loves to do chainmail. I am very fond of chainmail. In fact, last year I showed how to make chainmail pumpkin earrings. So, all right, got that. Now the question is, do I want a glass or smaller? Now, here, if I wanted to, I could actually you know, like connect this one, I could, well, I don't want to hang it down from there because then I have to do 2 rings. There, I probably could have put both of them on there. I could still try that. Although I'm not sure that, I think it needs to be separate, but. All right. Now this glass comes with a wire already in it. What I am going to do is, I think, turn this sideways. All right. And get that closed tight as we can, and then let's use one of our jump rings just so we're consistent here. It also allows this to hang down a little further. There's not really a front or back to this leaf, so it doesn't really matter which way I hang it, but the other ones, there was. Again, we're just tightening that ring. What do you guys think? Is 5 dangles enough? That's probably. Probably enough, unless I want to add this one. I like to have an odd number of things. So if I add more stuff, I have to add something to both sides. So you can do that. So maybe we'll add 2 more real quick, and then we'll work on the necklace part. All right. Okay, so and make sure this is, facing the right direction. Weather is apparently wanting to go somewhere. All right, one more because we need something on the other side. All right. Okay, our last one. All right. Now let's make sure things are all going the right directions. Hey, Marianica. Upside down, but that's okay. All right, so that's what's going to dangle from our necklace. So now we need to kind of decide how long we want the necklace to be. I need to test some things. So, all right. So I'm thinking that, you know, I want this hanging low. I think we're going to do a long one. All right, let me put my spare jump rings away because I don't want to spill them all over the place. All right, now let's get our leather out. So I thought I'd do like a little simple braided design. So let me see how long I was thinking of. I'm thinking. All right, so I'm thinking if I take 3 feet or a yard of each of my 3 strands, 1, 2, 3. And I'm using 1.5 millimeter leather here. So I just have to decide, since I'm going to use sort of this coppery color, I'll do 2 coppers and 1 of the lighter. How's that? All right, now I just toss the end of my leather here. All right. 1, 2. I know this is the boring part, but I didn't just, you know, until I knew how long my my dangle or my pendant for my necklace was going to be, I couldn't cut my leather. So, all right, 1 more, then it'll go quickly from there. All right. All right. 1, 2, and 3. All right. So again, I'm using a yard of 3 different strands of 1.5 millimeter leather. Now you could just use some thicker leather if you wanted, but this is what we are going to do. So now I am just going to line my 3 pieces up, and I am using, these are 3 millimeter crimp ends with a loop, which are great for working with leather, and I'm putting all 3 of those through there just so the ends just go across the top. Now if you use these, you don't really need glue. Some people glue them. And now I'm going to take my, either my chain nose, I'm using my flat nose, and I'm just going in the center, and I am going to squish down, and then I'm going to do the other side and squish, and see that end is on there. Very, very nice. All right, now I just want to, I'm just going to put a small or a real loose braid in here. And let I'm gonna stick that under there to see if I can do it. Like I said, I'm just doing a loose braid. A tight braid, I would have to have more leather, longer leather, okay? But I'm just doing this to give my, you know, my 1.5 millimeter leather a little bit of volume. We'll see how it looks. You could just run the 3 next to each other if you don't feel comfortable braiding. I realize I am off the screen and I'm not showing you how I'm braiding, but hopefully most of you know how to braid. All right, so it's just, you know, you just take them back and forth. It's actually braiding the other part for me. But. And like I said, I don't want it to be too tight. You know, I'm just doing a loose braid here, but I am gonna go all the way across for the moment. And, you know, this can be a little easier if you have something kind of holding the end of your leather. A great thing if you're working with leather is like a clipboard. It's one way to hold the ends. If you do any of those like wrap bracelets with leather, I've found that the easiest way to do that is to clip it onto a clipboard. And you could, you know, you could put beads in your braid. We did a design for my hair beads a while back where we braided 3 strands of soft flex beading wire, and we just put a bead on every other one, and it came out to be a neat design. I keep meaning to turn that into like a bracelet. All right, so I'm close enough to the end here. Now, I think I wanted, I'm going to stick this around my neck a minute. All right, just a tad more. I don't have a whole lot of extra leather here, but I think that'll be fine. All right. So because my ends don't fit through my bail, once I put those caps on, I'm going to go ahead and slide my bail onto this leather. And part of the reason why I wanted to use the 3 strands is because the hole in this bail is so large. All right. So let's just slide those through. I'm trying not to let go because my braid will come undone. All right. So I just need to have that on there somewhere. But once I know how long I want my necklace to be, I can now put my other end on. So obviously these are going to stick out. They're going to come out the top of my cord end here, which is fine because we'll just trim them from there. Just need to make sure I get all 3 of them in there. So that I can push this down to where I wanted the end of my necklace to be. So let me, so see I have that slit on there, so it's holding my braid in place. I'll trim the edges in a minute. Let me see how long my there. So I think I want it down here, so I'm going to slide this down to where my fingers are. All right, it's not sliding over the braid well. I'm ending up tightening up the braid. Here we go. You have to be a little more forceful. All right. And slide it down just a tad more because so with this design I can't really, I won't be able to shorten it because I am putting a clasp on here, but I could lengthen it by adding chains or multiple rings, so I'd rather have it be a little shorter that I can then add on to. So all right, let me make sure. All right, that's where I want it. So, all right, now I've got it on there. So now we go in the middle again. And remember, these things are designed to crimp on here. So, and we're just going to take our pliers and squeeze and then flip it over and do it again. If you're interested in buying these cord ends, Tammy over at T-Beads sells them on Facebook and on her website. She's also a good source if you want to buy different colors of leather. She makes beautiful beads, lampwork beads. Now, these are long enough pieces of leather that it is worth keeping them because they're great. It's a great length for, you know, like earring projects or something. All right, so don't want to toss those. All right, so now looks like we're back to, we need to use a jump ring to put our clasp. I'm just going to use the lobster clasp here. So, unlike our rings that we use to put our leaves on here, you know, we don't need a whole lot of room. So I'm just going to, well, let's see if that should do it. So you'd have to be a little careful here because, you know, you don't want it to not fit around it. And so we'll see. If these don't fit, we will pull out a bigger one, okay? So again, we find where it's open, we turn it sideways and make sure it actually fits through there. And it does fit. And now we're using our other pliers to, like I said, gently bring it back. I kind of push it together a little bit. But there, that fits on there. All right. And so you don't have to add another ring on here because this comes with the ring. So see, there's your clasp. So, all right, let me put my tools away. My extra leaves out of the way so you can see what we made today. So we've got our braided leather. We have our right, so I need to fix that jump ring real quick. Sorry. So I think these are copper jump rings, which means they are a little soft. All right, but hopefully they won't get too much wear and tear. So, all right, so we've got our bail, we've got our sunshine, and you know, we got a nice falling leaves design. So let me put it on and show you what it looks like on. Let me flip this. All right, so this is how long I made it. So it dangles, you know, right there, and at least the, you know, like I said, the braiding the leather gives it a little more volume from just using a single thing. But you know, you could use like 3mm leather or 5mm leather, and it would be fine by itself. And you could adjust this necklace to be shorter or longer. But there we go. We have a nice fall design. Our colors and our sun are inspired by our sunset, and you know, our falling leaves, the leaves falling down just like the sun setting on the summer, right? I know it's a little kooky, but anyways, thanks again for joining me. It was a fun necklace today. You know, I don't know, you guys may not know this, but well, you probably know it if you've watched me at all. You know, I have a couple of obsessions. I love cats, I love cactus, right? And I really have a leaf obsession, and I think that comes from living in Virginia for years, because fall, you get lots of color and all the leaves fall, and it is very pretty. We don't get fall really here where I am in the Tucson area, but not too far away we do get fall. We just don't see the colors unless you go drive and look for them. But anyways, that's our project for week 44. All right, so we'll be back on Sunday. We'll be doing the prickly pear ornament after we draw our cards. Again, you can get your kits, $15 plus shipping, and we'll get those out to you so you can enjoy them and put them on your tree. They also work good for sun catchers. I will say, if you hang it directly in the window from the or when the sun's shining directly on it, you lose a bit of the purple color and you get a lot more of the green, but it's still pretty. So there you go. All right, thanks again for joining me. I will be back on Sunday at noon Mountain Time, because we are in Mountain Time. And if you haven't already, please like and follow Desert Cat Creations on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Subscribe to us on YouTube. All the videos are over on YouTube. If they're more than 30 days old, they will not be on Facebook any longer. You'll have to find them on YouTube. Okay. So they're there on our channel, and that's where we're at. And just one last glance at our cactus gardens. So all of these cactus are available. Also, we've sold those kits this year. So, and we still have them available. So anyways, there you go. My little cactus garden. All right. Thanks again. I will see you all on Sunday, and I hope you have a great weekend, and have a chance to spend some time being creative and enjoying, hopefully, the nice fall weather that most people are getting. All right. See you soon. Bye.